Underperformance is something that most managers will have to deal with at some point in their careers. So let's see how to do it. In turning around underperformance, your goal is to support your colleagues' growth and success. Your aim, of course, is to help each employee to reach their full potential, whilst balancing this against the organisation's needs. Here is my 5-step process for handling underperformance. Step 1. Understand the causes of underperformance. Because if you don't understand what is driving the underperformance, then you won't be able to handle it effectively. There are always reasons behind the underperformance, and these tend to be either linked to skill level or to emotional state. Skill level can vary from extremely low levels of skill up to extremely high levels of skill and capability. And of course, at the low skill end of the spectrum, we expect people's performance to be poor simply because they are not capable of doing the work. This causes them to get frustrated, panicked. But at the high skill level, we see things like boredom and frustration. Likewise, emotional state varies all the way from a very low emotional state, which we might call apathy, up to a very high, energized emotional state, which can cause tension and stress. So start by setting up a conversation in a place that the employee will consider safe to find out what the causes are in their mind. Ask open questions and practice deep, respectful listening. As they explain, ask clarifying questions to find out more about the details of the underlying causes of their underperformance. This will also give you a good idea about the extent to which, firstly, they recognise the underperformance, and secondly, they're willing or eager to address it. Henry Ford said, "Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're probably right." And one of the common reasons for underperformance is limiting beliefs or self-sabotage. A big part of handling underperformance is countering this and boosting confidence. Step 2 is to set clear, achievable expectations. People can only perform well if they know what good performance looks like. So, offer your employee a clear evidence procedure, a set of steps or observations that you will make which will give you the evidence that their performance has reached an acceptable or even a good or high level. Spell out how you will assess adequate, good, and excellent performance levels. This way, employees will know what you and the organisation expect of them. Include in this process some specific goal setting. A goal answers the question, what do we want? We being you, the manager, and the organisation. Support the goal with some objectives, which answer the question, how will I, the employee, know that I have achieved it, the goal? It's the objectives that provide the evidence for performance. I have a video which is likely to help you with this, called How to Set Clear, Realistic Goals. Step 3 is to provide helpful feedback and support. We have a whole short course on feedback on the channel, but fundamentally, feedback is how people learn about their strengths and about their underperformance. I suggest that you use feedback to help people give their performance a boost. BOOST is a simple acronym which helps you to remember 5 key elements of good performance feedback. Good performance feedback needs to be balanced. Whilst you're pointing out areas of underperformance, give their confidence a boost by also pointing out their strengths, the things that they do well. Secondly, your performance feedback needs to be observed, based on things you have observed yourself, rather than on second-hand reports or assumptions about what people can and cannot do. Third, make your feedback objective. Focus on the behaviours rather than on the person, and avoid criticising the choices that they make, because this is likely to create unhelpful defensive responses. If you can make a link between what you observe someone doing and the results that it had, it will help them to understand why they're underperforming. Fourth, make your performance specific. The more specific and detailed your performance feedback is, then the easier it is for the underperforming employee to figure out what it is they need to change. On the other hand, generic feedback, like your performance is not good enough, gives them no information about what they need to change and how they can improve their performance. And finally, make your performance feedback timely. The sooner you can give the feedback, then the better the chances are that they can correct their behaviour. Indeed, performance feedback given closer to the event of the underperformance is going to make more sense. They're going to recognise it more easily. And of course, on the other hand, the longer you wait for giving performance feedback, if they are underperforming and they know it, then the more their confidence will sap away. Step 4 is to build a performance improvement plan. Help your colleague to draw up their own performance improvement plan. This should include their goals, timelines, the changes in behaviour that they're going to make, and the resources that they're going to be able to draw upon. You can then use this plan to create confidence, to drive commitment, and to assess progress. What motivates us most of all is the feeling of succeeding. Therefore, make sure your plan has a large number of small objectives that people can hit, with milestones attached to them. That way they can check off progress and feel like they are succeeding. A simple performance improvement plan template might include goals, what it is they're setting out to achieve, objectives, the measures of success that you'll apply, approach, what they'll do to change their performance levels, the help needed, both in terms of physical resources and support, and milestones. And of course, the more interim milestones you provide, the better. Step 5, follow up. Make sure that you schedule regular follow-up meetings. These meetings can achieve a number of things. They can discuss progress. They can offer encouragement and support. They can give feedback. They can recognise and reinforce improvements in performance. And they can make adjustments to help manage the risk of future underperformance. Managers will often document these meetings to track their employees' performance formally. Finally, it's worth noting that you need to be prepared to take tough decisions if they're needed. Of course, performance won't always improve, and the reasons for this are very similar to the reasons for underperformance in the first place. They might not improve because the employee is not able or prepared to gain the skills necessary, or there might be some fundamental emotional reason for why they're not improving. As a manager, you have an obligation to that employee, but also to all of their colleagues. And whilst it is right to put time and effort and energy into supporting that employee to improve their underperformance, if you do that to the detriment of the other colleagues who are performing well, then you are letting those other colleagues and the organisation down. Therefore, if underperformance doesn't improve, you may need to make some tough decisions, which might include some things like reallocation or even termination of a contract. Clearly, if one of these options is on the cards, you must speak to your personnel or human resources specialist. In most countries, there are laws and regulations which govern the handling of these things, And certainly almost every organisation will have its own policies and procedures that you need to follow. Those policies and procedures are there to protect you, the manager, the organisation itself, and of course the employee. They're about making sure that your treatment of that person is not just fair, it's also lawful. Therefore, if you fail to respect these policies and procedures, you can create a lot of unnecessary problems for yourself and for the organisation. Above all, I believe it is the responsibility of every employer and every manager within the organisation to be fair. You should be doing all that you can to help that person to succeed. But if you have done all that you can and you still can't secure an acceptable level of performance, then it is time to act to protect the organisation and your team. Please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it or learned from it. I'll be making loads more great management courses videos for you, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of them. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.